So the first season of Percy Jackson is officially over, and I just got done watching the season finale, and I have lots of thoughts. I'll go into spoilers in the second half, start off with no spoilers, and with that all out of the way.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination.
Wow, that finale was pretty damn good. And the season as a whole, I feel like, was solid. I felt like from what I saw, it was a solid beginning to what could be a pretty good series overall. Also, I should clarify with my knowledge of Percy Jackson, I never read the books. Well, that's not true. I read a little bit of the first book when I was in middle school, which was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It was a while ago since I first read the book, or the little I did read, and I saw the two movies that weren't too good. The first one I felt like was okay. The second movie I thought was pretty bad. It was just terrible. But I did like Logan Lerman as Percy. I like Logan Lerman in general. I think he's a very underrated actor, deserves more recognition. It's also been a really long time since I first saw those movies, and I didn't really remember anything about the movies going into this TV show. I just remember I thought the first movie was okay, and I remember some scenes with Percy Jackson like in the pool, and just I remember some certain things. I just remember really liking Logan Lerman in the movie. And with the second movie, I just remember not really liking it, just remember really disliking it. But yeah, I just remember my feelings from the movie, didn't really remember much about the movies themselves, which is great for me because I want to go into the show with a blank, clean slate, be immersed into this new world with new lore and new storylines and stuff. So I'm glad I'm going into the show not really knowing anything about Percy Jackson. So yeah, I don't know much about Percy Jackson, and I don't know how accurate this show really is, and I'm not sure what the Percy Jackson fans think of this show. I know they hated the movies. I know the author himself even hated the movies as well. And also, I know the author is working on this series, so I'm sure he made the show accurate, or pretty much as accurate as he wanted to make it. I heard he changed some things that caused controversy. I'm not really sure. I'm just judging this as a TV show and not as a Percy Jackson fan. So you're going to be listening to a review that's in the perspective of someone that has not read the Percy Jackson books. And I gotta say, I was pretty hyped for this show because I heard Percy Jackson was like Harry Potter, and I love Harry Potter. I love the books, I love the movies, I love the video games. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I gotta say, I did get some Harry Potter vibes in this series. Not as much as I was looking for, but I could see why people would compare this to Harry Potter in some ways. And I was also hyped for this show because I was looking for another show like His Dark Materials, like another show that's adapting a fantasy book series. Also, something I find to be funny is Lin-Manuel Miranda is in this show, and he's in His Dark Materials. It seems like he loves to star in these types of shows, which who could blame him? So yeah, I was pretty hyped up for this show, and did this show live up to the hype? I don't know. I mean, the show did have some issues, mainly some pacing issues, and I felt like the show was really rushed at times, especially in the beginning. Like the first 3 episodes, I feel like things just kind of happened really, really fast, and certain characters I felt like didn't have enough certain emotions and certain scenes. Trying to not give any spoilers away, but yeah, I feel like certain characters should have reacted to things a little bit differently. I don't know. I just feel like if this was real, and like real people was going through certain situations, I feel like they would have been reacting in a different way. But everyone has different reactions to different situations in their own way. Everyone's unique. If I'm trying to make any sense, I'm just saying I feel like some things could have been handled a little bit better. And I feel like this show needed more episodes to flesh some things out more, flesh out the relationships more. A lot of stuff just felt like it went by way too fast, and I feel like certain reveals should have been saved for another season. Get that more into spoilers. But overall, I felt like this was pretty good. Probably Disney Plus's strongest show, one of its strongest TV shows they've made so far, which isn't saying a lot because most of their shows have been pretty ass, except for the Star Wars shows. Like, I can't think of a single other Disney Plus TV show off the top of my head that was good that didn't come from Star Wars. So yeah, I think this is a win for Disney Plus and a win for Percy Jackson fans, I guess. I don't know if they like this series or not. I just know there's some things that are controversial. Don't really know what they are exactly, because I was trying to go into the show with a fresh, unbiased, clean slate, and I didn't see anything that was like anything too egregious. I just felt like the show just has some pacing issues. Some things just felt like they went by way too fast. There were some great episodes, and at worst, I felt like an episode was just okay. And I'm invested. I'm not as invested as I was into Harry Potter, but I'm invested into this show, and I wonder what's going to happen next. So yeah, I guess this is like a solid start. I'm guessing it's going to get better as it goes on, just like how Harry Potter got better as it goes on. But with Harry Potter, I was invested into that world right away. And that might be because of nostalgia and being biased as growing up with Harry Potter. I never grew up with Percy Jackson. But I was hoping to get a bit of a magical feeling. I know this isn't magic, but like, oh my God, I'm being immersed into a whole brand new world and this is amazing. And I was like, this was good. Nothing amazed me. And yes, there were some great moments, but there was nothing like that blew my socks off or anything like that. Like, it was a good series. I think I overhyped it in my head a bit. But yeah, and I can't wait to see where everything goes, and I'm sure it'll get better as it goes on. I wonder if it will get darker as it goes on. Like with the Harry Potter series, it grew up with its audience. I wonder if this show will do the same thing. Like, by the time we get into the later seasons, the show will get much darker, much more serious. I really hope that will be the case. And I hope there's more episodes per season too, so we can like not feel like everything's being packed into a tight space, and let episodes breathe a bit and let characters develop the relationships more over more episodes instead of it being 8. I feel like this season should have been 12 episodes, in my opinion. Also, I just want to shout out the acting. For a show that focuses on a bunch of kids and kid actors, the acting was really, really well, in my opinion. Even if it wasn't that good, I wouldn't really say anything because I'm not going to hate on a bunch of kids. But yeah, the acting done by Walker and Leah was amazing, especially for their age. And even the actor that played Grover was pretty good too. But Walker and Leah, I feel like, were really, really good. And I gotta say, I think Walker is just everything he's done so far, I think has been pretty impressive. And I think he's going to go on to have a really great career in the film industry. Like, I remember when I first watched him on The Adam Project, and he was great in that, and he's great in this show. He really holds his own as an actor and as the main lead in this series. Especially in that finale. His performance in the finale was just exceptionally well done. Like, as they grow throughout the series, their acting, I'm sure, is going to get a lot better. And I can't wait to see their acting evolve as the show goes on. Just like in the Harry Potter series, their acting as they grew up, the acting got a lot better, and it was just, they were just incredible by the end of the movies. And I know I should stop comparing Percy Jackson to Harry Potter. I don't know if Percy Jackson fans are going to like that I keep doing that, but just suck it up. So with that all being said, I'm going to give the first season of Percy Jackson a 78%, almost an 80%, but just not quite an 8 out of 10 yet. I feel like it was close, but just something was lacking, I feel like, with this first season. All right, let's get into spoilers. Spoiler warning, you have been warned. In 3, 2, 1. All right, let's head into the spoilers. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the first episode. I just felt like the death of Percy's mom, I guess the reason why I felt rushed is because she's obviously alive. If you watch the finale, she's alive and well and everything's good. I felt like that whole sequence was just kind of rushed. Percy didn't really have a chance to really react and give like an emotional scene. Like, his mom just died in front of him, and he just kind of stood there very like stoic and really didn't give a reaction. I know everyone reacts to death in different ways. I just think there was a moment there to have a really great scene, a very great scene with emotion. I know Walker can give a great performance. That's not the problem. I think it was more the directing or screenplay or whatever told Percy Jackson to not really give much of a reaction. I feel like that was just kind of rushed, and the whole way they got to that situation, I felt like it just happened way too fast, and I felt like there wasn't enough time to process things, and I just felt like they were rushing the first episode a lot, and the pacing just felt really off. Same thing with the second episode too. I feel like everything was just rushed, and we didn't get enough time with Luke. I felt like his turn would have been more emotional if we got more scenes with him in the first season and more scenes with him in the second episode and the third episode. Like, stretch the second episode out a bit so we could feel a bit more emotion to when he turns out to be a bad guy. I mean, I did see that coming because there was something in the Oracle about one of his friends were going to betray him, and I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't going to be Grover or Annabeth, and Luke was the only other character who was his friend. But yeah, I felt like the reveal of that was just, I didn't really feel anything for it because we didn't see enough of Luke in the series. I think something that would have been really cool is if we saw that in the second season, but I guess it had to happen in the first season because it happened in the book. So I don't know. I don't know if it happened in the book or not. If it was in the first book or if that reveal was in a later book. Maybe that's just my issue with the book itself and not with the show. Let me know down in the comments below if the reveal was in the first book. But yeah, the first 2 episodes were rushed. And even in the third episode, I felt like things were rushed too. I felt like there were all of a sudden the 3 of them became friends way too quickly. I felt like that was something that could have been developed more in a more organic way. I felt like their relationship kind of felt like the relationship between the 3 characters and how they all became friends. I felt like it kind of all felt a little too artificial and a little too rushed. Like at one moment, they're kind of at each other's necks, and then the next moment, they're like, oh, we're best friends, and like we're crying over each other and not wanting each other to die. And by the 5th episode, and I just felt like it was just not really organic, and it didn't really feel earned for all 3 of them to be like really close and best friends. Also, I feel like this show needed to do a bit of a better job of explaining the lore. I was a bit confused at times, and I was at one point surprised when Grover was 24 years old. Like, I felt like that kind of came out of nowhere and should have been said much earlier in the series. I felt like they did say he was older in the first episode, but they kind of like things went by so quickly. So much was just happening at once. It was like they kind of information dumped you at times, and I felt like they didn't give enough information with other times as well. Like other things should have been fleshed out more. And also, at times, I kept forgetting when they were like mentioning characters. I kept forgetting like who was who when they were mentioning certain characters, and yeah, I felt like I kind of got lost at times when watching this series. I think I'm gonna rewatch this show, and I'm gonna read the first book as well. I'm not gonna read the other books because I don't want to get spoiled for what happens in the later seasons. If there are gonna be other seasons made, I know the second season hasn't been announced yet, but I think it's pretty obvious that the show's gonna have multiple seasons. At least I think so. I think the ratings are good, and I think a lot of people are watching the show. I could be wrong though. But I gotta say, the best episodes of the show was easily the last 2. It was also great seeing Poseidon in the final 2 episodes as well, and seeing that moment between Percy and his father. I felt like that was done really, really well, and I think everything in the final 2 episodes was just done really, really well, and I think the pacing felt right, and maybe at times it was a little rushed because I think throughout this entire first season there were pacing issues, but for the most part I felt like everything felt pretty tight in the writing department and in the pacing department. And this first season did set up things pretty well for like storylines I want to see in future seasons, like stuff with Annabeth and her mom. Hope we get more like details with her character, because I feel like there were some things that were just kind of mystery. Like there's a lot of like mystery boxes with her character. I felt like a lot of unresolved plot lines, and also there was something in the final episode. I believe it was either in the final episode or in episode 7 where she had some sort of regret. I think, if I remember correctly, her leg got stuck in that one world that they were at because she had regrets, and I don't know if they ever explained that. I could be wrong. I want to know what's up with her character, because it's a big question mark, and I'm really curious to see what they do with her character in future seasons and some of the mysteries around her character get resolved. And one last thing I want to touch upon for the first season of the show is Lance Reddick's performance as Zeus. I felt like he was really, really badass in the little we did see of him, and I just love that whole sequence with Zeus in the finale with Percy and with Percy's father. I felt like that whole scene like really well done, and just it was great in my opinion. But it's such a shame we've lost Lance Reddick. He was a phenomenal actor. May he rest in peace. And I believe this is his last performance in anything before he passed. I could be wrong though. But yeah, shout out to him. He did a really great job. And yeah, the first season of Percy Jackson is done. Hopefully there are multiple seasons, because I want to know what happens with some of the stuff that they set up. You know, I'm a bit invested. Not as invested as I wanted to be, but you know, I am invested. I've been craving for another His Dark Materials now that show has ended, which honestly I feel like Percy Jackson reminds me more of His Dark Materials than Harry Potter. Like, I liked His Dark Materials. I thought the show was pretty good. I was invested into the world, and now I'm being invested into another world and another set of lore and stuff. But let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear from Percy Jackson fans and inform me about like the stuff that I should be like knowing, stuff I got wrong in this review, stuff like how are you guys feeling about this show? And non-Percy Jackson fans, I want to hear from everyone, and I just want to get a better grasp of like what Percy Jackson is all about. And yeah, because I didn't hear any of like reviews and stuff from Percy Jackson fans and non-Percy Jackson fans. Let me know down below, like in the comments below. I want to get a better idea of like what Percy Jackson is about and how this TV show represented the books.